So how long?
Sorry.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So go
There you
ahead,
go.
ask the question again.
So how long have you been doing martial arts?
So I started training in the backyard of a friend. We met at an Office Depot of all places, and
Oh wow.
yeah, I know. So I started training. I guess that was 2006. Yeah, it was back in 2006, and that's when I started informally training like once or twice a month with my friend
Mm,
David Quigley. And in about mid 2008, I officially joined a school here in Charlotte with
mm.
Sifu Scott Shields. And Scott Shields, who passed away, but he ran a
Sorry
school
for your
for,
loss.
yeah, thank you. Me too. He ran a school in Charlotte where he taught Jeet Kune Do, he taught Kali, he taught grappling, Jiu-Jitsu, and he taught Muay Thai. And he had that,
Oh wow.
kind of pretty much the exact same things that I teach now, but that's what he taught. And so I started there in 2008. Around the exact same time, I started training with my current Sifu, Ron Balicki. And
I know about Ron Baleki. He's a very well known person.
yeah, he's awesome. Guru Dan's son-in-law, married to Diana Lee Inosanto, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, and it's all great. And so I started training with him also in 2008. And
Did you
so I
train
guess
with Paul as well? Paul
Paul
Funek?
Vunak, no, I have
Yeah.
not trained with him, unfortunately. No, I've trained with Scott Shields, who was under Inosanto. I've trained with Ron Balicki, who's with Guru Inosanto. I've trained with Inosanto a bit, and then I've trained with Eric Paulson, who's
Mm.
also under the Inosanto lineage. So I've
Uh,
trained with kind of like those three, plus David Quigley. I still train with him, and yeah, that's kind of when I started, and
mm.
with who.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Like I said, I started in karate back in the 90s, and I've been studying martial arts 30 years now.
Oh, nice, awesome.
Yeah, and I actually self-published a book, self-defense, a new way looking into self-defense, and it's basically it got some basic stuff in there, and uh, the reason I titled the book that way because there is a new way to look into self-defense. You look at YouTube, we got a lot of YouTube channels, and you don't have to really go to anywhere to learn self-defense. You got that YouTube base now. Um,
For sure.
so what inspired you in doing martial arts?
Uh, I'm weird in a lot of ways, but one of the ways is I watched a bunch of kung fu movies growing up. I was a big
Mm.
fan of Jackie Chan and Jet Li. I was sad to learn that like most of that stuff is for show.
Oh,
I knew who Bruce Lee was, but I didn't
mm,
know what he had done or what art he has done before. So sorry, my dogs are going crazy.
it's okay, man. I get animals, man. I live on a farm.
Yeah, they're having a good time. Anyway, so I didn't know who Bruce Lee was.
Mm,
And then so my friend David, he gave me let me borrow some Bruce Lee DVDs, and I watched them all. And I was like, this guy moves different. Like he looked different. Even the movies I had watched were
yeah.
primarily in the 90s. I'm 36. I was born in 85.
So
Most
you're
of
a little younger than I am.
Yeah. um, so I was like, oh man, none of these people move like Bruce moved, even 20 years before those movies like were coming out. So
Right.
it just kind of attracted me to it. And then doing more research on who Bruce was as a person, as
Mm.
how he approached martial arts and life in general was just super fascinating to me. So I just kind of became enamored with that, and then just started my journey there. I consider myself first and foremost a Jeet Kune Do guy, and
Mm.
then anything else beyond that.
So which style of JKD do you like to have you dabbled? Do you have you learned any Jufang Kung Fu, or is it just the concepts of
So it's an excellent loaded question, but I've mainly trained with Inosanto lineage people and
okay,
Inosanto himself.
so
Now,
concepts?
it is a concept thing, but here's where people, I think, get a little confused on what that actually means. When Guru or Sifu Inosanto teaches Jeet Kune Do, hi, I have that. When he's teaching Jeet Kune Do in seminars and whatnot, he is teaching what Bruce taught, what was in the curriculum there. Of course, he's got a ton of knowledge on a million different other arts, but he's
Sarada is one of them.
Yeah, exactly. He's always very careful to say what is what. Like Bruce showed this, Bruce did this, you know, whatever that is. So
it's awesome. Yeah,
no, it's super. Like I aspire to be 1/5 as knowledgeable as him, but what he does that's what he teaches as the Junfan. And so when you get your Jeet Kune Do instructorship under Guru Dan, it is essentially an encapsulation of what Bruce taught and your ability to kind of know that. Now, one thing beyond that is my main training is with Sifu Shields and with Sifu Ron Balicki. Their curriculum that they have for Junfan or Jeet Kune Do is what Bruce taught. It is the structure there. Hold on one second. Sorry. So what I have is what Sifu Ron Balicki has in his Junfan curriculum is what Bruce taught.
Okay.
Now it includes stuff of what Bruce threw away, and I think that's important to note as well, because the analogy that people use to like oversimplify Jeet Kune Do is they say make it simple, make it extremely simple, and you remove all the extra stuff, and that's all well and good. I agree that you should do that. However, in my humble opinion, if you don't have a base, you can't learn anything.
Right.
Like if I was, if I wanted to build up somebody from scratch, they would need to learn first what martial arts and fighting is, and then you remove the innocence. Yeah. So that's why I say it's a loaded question. But I train with concepts people. I'm a concepts guy. What I teach in my Jeet Kune Do class at my school, Metro Orlando Martial Arts, is all from what Sijo Bruce had in his curriculum.
Right.
And then I expressly say when I'm showing something that's not Jeet Kune Do, that this is not Jeet Kune Do in that class.
But that's a really hard thing to say to what is and what's not in JKD, because what Bruce wanted to do is when he taught his students is to have them to teach it their way. That's the whole thing that Bruce had in mind, was because he knew everybody had taught and learned differently. So that was his because it was supposed to be a fighting method, from what I understood, and instead of now it became a martial art.
Yeah,
it became a martial art. The philosophy of JKD, Jeet Kune Do, was to intercept. The art or the fighting method per se was supposed to be Junfang Kung Fu, and I think somewhere down the line got all discombobulated after he died. So, which I would love to see what it would be if he was still alive. Yeah. But I think it's great to have that knowledge you have right now as something, a piece that Bruce had, and to be able to teach that. So I also noticed that you are a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I am, yeah.
So how long have you been doing Jiu-Jitsu?
I started Jiu-Jitsu in earnest, meaning I really applied myself to it in 2015. I was first introduced to Jiu-Jitsu in 2009. And then I trained for that for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then stopped, and then started again in 2015. Put the white belt on, no stripes, none of that, and then just started in 2015.
Wow. So you bust your tail off to get to white belt to purple belt. I've talked to a blue belt, and they've been in there for 10 years.
Yeah.
Just be a blue belt. I mean, it's crazy because it's depending on how much you put time.
Yeah.
Quickly you can move up to the belt you want to be. I think it's funny because you could take 3 years to get a black belt and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you really bust your ass. Excuse me, you bust your butt in that art. It's just like any other art. You could really, if you put time and effort in there. And when I saw, now I'm gonna go back to the sentence itself, and that little hidden the joint. Yeah. So can I? So when you were doing sparring, you're like, the reaction. I said, man, I because I did a video reacted to you. And I had my fiance, and we worked it like, if you don't get the block that you want, I take that as finish and hit and go and flow with it, because when they look down, it's a quick hook right there, man. Because and I think that's one thing about JKD is you find a way to distract somebody, then you come and get whatever direction you want to get. Even though then you do it again, maybe they do block, then you get what you want. So it's like fishing. If once you get a binding, I think in sparring, I think you should play with that. See if they come up, then you strike, flow with it, and see if you can do it again, and see if they can bite and do what you want.
Yeah, so that's progressive and direct attack, right? Where you go low and then you go high, right? There's a lot of notes on that. So what I did in that video, and I think it's super fascinating how, like, the results from it, is I asked a karate person on a Jeet Kune Do Wing Chun trapping move. Now here's a secret on why I did that. Is when Bruce was coming up, he interacted with a lot of karate men. Joe Louis, Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
He was around karate point fighters.
Right.
One of the tendencies they had in the 60s was to do that low block. Asking Sensei Seth now, who is a modern karate person, at least American karate, right? A modern karate person, do you do this block? And basically we found out the answer was no. And that means that that drill, as it was created, that drill, as it was created, is no longer effective in the way that it was created. Doesn't mean that it's not effective. Doesn't mean that you can't use it for progressive and direct attack. Doesn't mean I can't hit low and then just immediately hit. It doesn't mean that I can't initiate the low block and go there. It doesn't mean any of that. I was trying to see, for historical context, that
I like to do. I mean, it's like because it got me thinking. Like, wait a minute, that makes sense.
Yes, and that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
I wanted this. I'm really happy this video turned out the way it did, is because it left so many unanswered questions that the viewer, could then take the video and be like, "Wait a minute, does it work?" Like, that was the question I wanted them to have. And I got varied reactions from it.
And I apologize. Like, man, I apologize if you took in my comments that I had. And I'm not trying to make myself like sound like I'm not at all. I'm very talented. When I watch somebody else's video, I'm not a YouTuber per se, because I'm not that big yet.
Yeah.
But I do have a knowledge about how things works. I even studied the human anatomy. I have a speech impediment. I'm sorry. Human anatomy to know how the body works. I think it's funny when people say, "Oh, this would work in a street fight." Yeah, it could, but do you know the body? How do you know how to bridge the gap? I think the learning the range is lost because nobody really talk about the range anymore and the timing. You get a gist of it when you watch the video, but if I'm a new person that I don't know nothing about martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
I think if I was gonna do a video talking about that, I would at least explain how to get this point to whatever you want, and that I think that's important
Mm-hmm.
for viewers to understand. This is the punching range, this is the kicking range, and this is the trapping and the grappling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think to me I lost art in a sense.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
I guess I'd agree with that. The idea with it, right, is like, yeah, it left a lot of unanswered questions, and that was kind of the point. Is, like, hey, this is the trapping range. This is a range that's kind of dying, and why is it dying? Like, where are the reactions coming from? Why aren't these reactions happening, and why aren't we able to pull them off for whatever reason? And I think that is what I think upset a lot of people in that, because I got a lot of different kind of comments. I got people that are like, oh, okay, cool, this was fun discussion. And then other people that are like, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. And that's fine either way. Like, conversation's conversation.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, if that's what you got out of it, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. But like, you can look at the 4 ranges or the 5 ranges of
Yeah.
combat and
Right.
then really extrapolate from there. I'm like, okay, well, if you're able to land this effectively, with whom are you sparring? Like,
Mm,
what are you doing? Are you fighting an untrained person? Untrained person 100% is going to try and block that with their hands. Are you
right.
fighting a trained Thai person? They're not going to bite on that at all. You're going to train a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. They're not going to react that way. They might. You never know. But
Yeah.
like, that's the thing is, and that's what makes it an interesting conversation, is like asking a karate person, this block, do you do it? Because here's a cool drill that comes from it. No, you don't do it. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how do we make this drill work? And then, like, asking someone like Icy Mike and then Rob from McDojo Life, who's essentially job on YouTube and
Yeah.
call out the BS, to be like, okay, all right, where is it, and why did it die, and how can we resuscitate?
Right. Yeah. So I do like there's a video that Isaac Mike did where he was doing the boxing. He was doing jiu-jitsu, but when he did call it jiu-jitsu, he was pulling and opening up the punch. He used a type of uh wrench on or whatever you want thing. If you look at something, I was like, wait, that looks like something I see in Jiu-Jitsu or whatever. And I love that he used something like that is familiarized to me.
Yes.
And how is it, so what is it like to work with Ice Mike? Or have you worked with Ice Mike yet?
Yeah, so I mean, other than the videos that I made with him, I've done a seminar or 2 with him. He's great. He has a character on YouTube, and there's so much more beyond that than just the character, insofar as that he's actually like really good at fighting. At least the stand-up side and like top grappling side, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that kind of sometimes gets lost on the viewer, because you see him just being him, and so you kind of like, you write him off, and the dude's good. And him doing that, because he did that basically trapping video,
Right.
without calling it trapping,
Right.
which is all based off of the boxer like Lomachenko and what he's able to pull off at the highest level of boxing, with
Right.
doing jut sows, doing lop sows, doing golan sows, and being able to hit, and like using all the Wing Chun stuff without calling it Wing Chun.
Right.
And that's fine.
Marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine, because like, eventually people like us that know what he's doing will come and explain it from a different lens. Like,
Right.
show a boxer that like Wing Chun, they're gonna be like, that's stupid, and that's fine for them to think that. Then you show them Lomachenko doing the same thing, but applied, they're gonna be like, that's awesome. Then you show the opposite way. You show a Wing Chun guy with Lomachenko that's like, oh yeah, it's rudimentary trapping. It's like, yes, it is, but here it is applied at the highest level of a striking combat sport, meaning that this stuff at that point is applicable. And that's what I think is really cool about like what Icy Mike can do is like he can see it from that combat sport perspective over here, and being like, this stuff is cool without knowing what it is or knowing the specific names of it. I'm sure he knows.
Get a gist of it. Yeah. Now, I got a question for you. Now, Kali, have you besides Kali, have you learned Serrata or Balanta Rock, those superiors or anything like that, or is it just based on Kali?
So I've learned the Inosanto method of Kali, and I'm still learning, I should say. I have not stopped. And then Lameko Eskrima. I've been exposed to Balintawak, and I've been exposed to Dulce Pares, and I've been exposed to Pikiti Tirsa, but I would not say that I have trained in them. I've just been exposed. So I've done.
Okay, so you know who Bobby Tabatas is, and
Bobby Tabatas is actually a Charlottean. He lives here in Charlotte, North Carolina, or he used to. So yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, I mean he's fantastic. I've watched a video where he did the magic as a video, and he's so quick with his hands.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, he's about 80 years old, and he's like,
and he's still so fast.
Yeah, so fast. And I mean, like I've studied Balanta Rock. I have a buddy of mine who got cerebral palsy. Gabriel Harris. I don't know if you heard of him or not. He has a video. Has a YouTube channel called Nature XTX. He's in the chair. Check him out. He's really good at got a lot of knowledge of Kali and knife blades. Anything about weapons. He has a high knowledge of that. And that's where I learned some of my trapping. Is from Gabriel Harris, and yeah, I then enjoy it because I got that's where I learned how the blend walk and Serrata, some of the things. So that's some of my background in martial arts, and not just karate. I'm not just a karate guy, but I love it because I get to experience so many other things like MMA and whatnot. So which attributes do you think bring the best to the table as in fighting?
For fighting? Yeah. In combat sports or self-defense?
Or either one. I'm sorry, I'm so random on my thoughts. So yeah, if you have just pick, let's say if you gotta pick one for sports, then you go from there. If you wanted to, can that translate to self-defense? Which one you think can go from sports combat to the streets, so to speak?
Okay, yeah. So I think the best attribute that any particular student or martial artist or whatever should have, combat sports athlete, whatever, is the ability to learn and the ability to like kind of have the discipline to train it. Now, if you look at combat sports, people get they are different insofar as that they have different outcomes. The stakes are different, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is like self-defense. If you train just specifically self-defense and don't apply it and spar it and things like that, you lose out on a lot of the realism. The problem with combat sports is the stakes aren't high. So like if you tap to something in jiu-jitsu, there's no, you can lose the meaning of it. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but you do have to, if you're trying to bounce from one to the other, you have to be aware that like, okay, if I tap now, yeah, my arm's not going to be broken because we're training, but this is simulated death. Where you tap, you're like, okay, I have on a self-defense thing, I'm tapping. Your arm's broken now. Like,
right.
Good news for self-defense is that most people don't know how to do an armbar. So,
Yeah.
People know how to do bad takedowns. They know how to do chokes and stuff like
Right.
that. So like that situation is very real.
I think the downfall was that scenario. If you bring jiu-jitsu in the streets, they don't know how to tap out. They don't know the concept. Hey, I'm in trouble. I need a tap.
Yeah.
So I've watched a lot of street fights that has MMA, and the guy does a double leg takedown, and the guy hit his head on the concrete because he didn't know the break fall.
Yeah, no, it doesn't know.
And he was out.
Yeah.
So it was a beautiful setup that he did. He went boom, boom. He got what he wanted, and he got his legs and took him down. The guy was bigger.
Yeah.
And it could be if the other guy was not trained, the bigger guy probably could have won.
Yeah.
The fight. Sure. But since he was trained and the other guy was not, he was able to use his skills and he was able to win the fight. Mm-hmm. So it goes to show you that if you have the understanding the concept of how things can work, you can make it work for you as far as like. It's funny because you go into I got to go for now I got this slap here in the air and I got this thing and you can show all that stuff, but you're not showing people how to get to that part. Yeah. I can show you how to get a headbutt, but if you don't show the steps, it could be lost translation there. Correct. In a sense.
Yep, I agree.
Do you have a YouTuber that you like to watch to like I know there's Fight Tips, Heart to Hearts, all that. Do you have one that you like to check out the stuff or anything like that?
Yeah, I subscribe to the big people, right? I follow Shane from Fight Tips, I follow Rob from A Dojo Life, I follow Mike from Hard to Hurt, I follow Sensei Seth. Another guy who I follow is my jiu-jitsu instructor. He has a school in Sumter, South Carolina, the Martial Arts Unlimited Association and Keishu Dojo. And I also follow a lot of jiu-jitsu people. Like I follow Chewy from jiu-jitsu.
That's a good one. I love he's
great. I follow Eli Knight from Night Jiu-Jitsu, and I've done a private lesson or two with him, and it's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's super cool. And then Ryan Hoover with Fit to Fight and Amber Stalinsky. I follow them.
I didn't know who he was until he been parents on Heart to Heart, and they so when I saw that, man, I like it, so I follow him. Yeah. That's what happens with you. I saw you was like, I like the concept that you brought to the table, and I think that's what a lot of people who trying to get to the martial arts world. Yeah, they don't have that same concept. They don't. It's because it's for me. I don't have a dojo. I don't have a place to go out to do. So I review them and give put my knowledge of what I do and what I see people doing. And I do want to go find another place. I would like to travel and train with these people like you have and give my not just because I published my book doesn't mean I'm a big shot. So yeah, I still have a room to learn because like I said on one of your videos, if you stop learning something new, you stop living. Yeah. And I think that's true to anything. So you so and I noticed you talk about the defending the snake. So what do you think is it's for you to get to the point? If you was going to teach somebody the thing, what it means of defending the snake, but not just hitting the ribbon on the hand, but do you think that will work? Do you think defending the snake actually work when you're hitting somebody on the hand and that trying to make it drop, or what do you think?
I think defending the snake is the best way to disarm. I train. I do more. I think people. I do a lot of stick sparring because it's fun. I try to at least get a few rounds in a week. And you can ask all of my students that, and it's trained into them as well, because when they'll go out to spar other people, they're like, wow, you guys do this really well. And that's, I am a hand hunter. And I will hit your hand every single time. Now, I'm not hitting, like we're training, right? But I'm not hitting it so hard to disarm you, but I am hitting your hand. And
that's the idea. Because you gotta imagine, not when people train kind of like for the first time, it's harder for them to imagine that the stick is supposed to be equivalent to the machete. But because you go from single stick, double stick to single machete, double machete, single knife, double knife, and then eventually you go into the other hand. What do you like hoop bud?
I like the idea of hoop bud. I like the training of it, but I don't like it applied.
That's another thing. Again, when it looks cool. Hoop bud looks awesome when you see it, but I'm talking to my friend, and he says teaching me here, but like, man, this looks like a lot of similar to trapping. Like, don't tell anybody that's Cali bananas. Like they'll if they look at you like, what you just say? But it's different. How don't you say it's like trapping hands?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, Hoover means to untie or undress, and it's an excellent attribute building flow drill. But it is a flow drill. You are agreeing to do it. Like it's a compliant thing. And you do gain attributes, you do gain things out of it. And I have gotten parts of it out, but it is not fighting. And I think people look at Wing Chun trapping drills, Chi Sao, Hubud, things like that, and misconstrue that that's fighting. I think I mentioned
it's
it.
Not. It's just a drill.
Yeah, it's a drill. And I think I mentioned it in that video, the Jeet Kune Do versus karate, is like people don't fight with the bridge.
And if they did, I had to laugh at that.
Yeah, and if they did, I'd be really good at fighting because I spent a lot of time here. I wish they did, but they don't. But yeah, so that's what they took at Hubud, and I like Hubud. It's fun, but it's like it's a training drill, and applying it looks very different than the hit pass.
Yeah. So when you go into that motion here, I might get like something from Aikido, apply it to that level. But people get that once you actually show, not from here from going to bringing to the gate, but when you try to apply it to sparring, it's a different because it becomes different. So I don't know how much time we have left. But I do not have another question to ask before time is up. So we went over hoop bud and in Chi Sao. And all that. So what do you think about leg the destruction, leg destruction? The hitting with the elbow, trying to catch and destruction of the fist. What do you think is applicable, or do you think that is just bullshido?
I don't think it's bullshido mostly. I think it's real. I think it's good. If you look at, I like using combat sports as a lens of like, this really works, especially when it's high trained people versus each other. So we'll look at two destructions. We'll look at hand destruction and we'll look at leg destruction. Hand destruction, it's Randy Couture versus Gabriel Gonzaga. And what he did is every time he would punch, he'd have this high guard and he would guide the punches down to his elbows. Not saying he broke the dude's hand, but it definitely made a reaction happen differently, because like, ooh, I don't want to hit his elbows. No one wants to punch elbows.
Right.
And then you look at the leg destruction. Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva, where Chris Weidman is trained by Ray Longo, who is a Paul Bunat guy. And he knows that leg destruction and that kind of it's not Seiko, it's Hood, right? Where he push push the kick into the knee while you spear the knee forward to do it. So I think do I say you should spend most of your time training destructions? No, but I think they work. Yeah.
I actually did a leg destruction, not because the guy was just drilling kicks to my leg, and I was like, okay, I gotta check it. So I check it, and I went down with my elbow. The guy did not come to class in 3 days because and then when he did come back, when we spawned again, he did not throw normal kicks. I mean, like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna throw them.
They learn quick. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and I think it's funny because you can work that in sparring. I'm sparring so much because it's because of COVID. It becomes hard. I would love to, because I had my brother was stationed in Campbell June, years ago, and I didn't know if I knew who you was that because I think him I think Jacksonville, North Carolina. No, you said South Carolina.
I'm in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Mike is in South.
How far are you from Jacksonville?
Jacksonville. So my mom lives about an hour and a half northeast-ish of Jacksonville, like following the coast. So I'm probably 3.5 hours from Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. So you're about, because I would look at the so you from here from where I'm at to your studio is about the same drive from
Where are you at?
I live in Fairmount, Georgia, near I don't know if you've been to Cartersville or anything, but it's basically northeast Georgia.
Okay. So like I-85.
Yeah, I-85 going down to 75 South.
Got it. Yeah. I go to Atlanta a lot for Eric Paulson does camps down there. Guru Dan goes down there several times.
Nice.
Or pre-COVID. And so yeah, I come down to Atlanta a lot, and it's about like a 4-hour-ish drive.
I would like to ask you if when you have time, would you like to come down here and train with me? And do the video because like I said, I have no knowledge. I've done the JK. I'm not certified because of the person that I moved a lot. Yeah. But I've done. I know when I said I've done JKT for 20 years. Yeah. And like you're not certified, it's complicated. But complicated. It's life getting in the way because it was a yo-yo training with. But so I would love to do I would love to do a video with you. Yeah. If you can make it down to Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah, I have your Instagram, right? What I'll do is when I'm down there for the camp in November with Eric, I'll let you know, and I'll block out some time, and we can meet up and film a video.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would love that. I love, like I said, I do love your content. Do you have any questions that you want to ask me or anything?
No, not at the moment. No.
I thank you for this opportunity. I enjoyed this very much. Like I said, I'm very appreciative. That I don't know how much time we have left. I know this is a 30-minute window. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said. I know I'm not trying to pick a back right on anybody's success. That's not my thing. Yeah. But if I see an opportunity and I can talk to you, I would like to talk to you if I can next time. If you don't mind, to have another interview. But you have JD, I believe that's his name.
Yes, JD. Yeah.
I would like to have a conversation with both y'all next time. Okay. I would because I would like to talk to him and have a nice conversation. I wish I have better material to ask the questions. This is my first time.
No, it's all your questions were good. Your questions were good. So, yeah, no. What I'll do is I'll sync up with JD and I'll message you and we'll get a time and we'll sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah, that'd be great because hopefully if I could do this, I would like to talk to Isaac, Mike, and Rob and get them get a nice conversation going. be it or martial art nerds.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, dude, we'll do that. And then, yeah, like I said, I'll send you this copy of this video. And if you have any questions, just hit me up, man. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Like I say, thank you for so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I before we go, I know you just did a salute.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to learn that salute here? There's a little step, then you step forward, and then you go in to that salute. So how long it's not easy. It looks easy.
It looks easy.
But it's not as easy as people think, because there is a motion for that.
Yeah.
I think, but did you have to learn Sun Tao?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I don't know how far and the forms you got up to, but Sun Tao is another one of the things you did. I knew you had to learn in JKD.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to learn any other forms, or do you do?
So I know the Selim Tao form, and I know Ung Moon, which is the 5 gates.
Okay.
Both of which, from my understanding, Bruce threw away before the end, and we still probably didn't need him anymore. According to Sifu Ed Stahl, he was the best formsman he had ever seen. So it's probably one of those things where it's like he could do those moves, and
yeah, I mean, it's a shame because it was a shame because he spent 5 years with Edman and never got certified. He's not certified in anything.
Right.
I'm not. Again, I'm not mouth dashing Bruce.
Yeah.
By all means, because he doesn't have black belt, he has black shadows or anything. Sure. But he was so smart. He had a high, like I liked his, like Dan Santos said in one of his videos, that Bruce he was the level 3 in Wing Chun. Was this he said he was so good at Wing Chun that you couldn't tell if he was level 3 or level 12. That's how good he was, and Wing Chun, like, that's impressive not to be, because he lived in a time period where he not just had to fight racism in America. He was a black sheep in China as well, because he had a quarter of European, and he wasn't fully allowed to master Wing Chun because of his heritages. Exactly. But anyways, like I said, I'm sorry. My brain, the way it works, it just pop up. Then another thing come in, but I do appreciate you. I don't want to hold you up too much. I know you're a busy guy.
No worries. I appreciate it.
I'm very humble that you allow me to do this. This thing. You could say no, and I'm glad you said yes.
Yeah, no worries, man. I'm happy to do it. And then, yeah, anytime. We'll just message up and we'll do it from there, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm going.
Do the same.